And the Afzal debate is debate number 1 on the Newshour tonight. Nalin, Kohli, Rashneek, Kher, BJP spokesperson, founder member, roots in Kashmir. On the other side, Gaurav, Bhatia, Samajwadi Party. Coming back on the Newshour, great to see him back. Manoj of the RJD. Padma, senior journalist. Saba, Naqvi has the contrary position. And Saira, Shah, Halim is writer and activist. Fully balanced panel. We start with giving the contrary side the first point of view. Now, I want to start tonight by asking Saba. Saba, you find it interesting that at the end of 8 days, the focus comes back on the issue of Afzal Guru. And there are 5 issues we need to look at. But let me begin by asking you, are you surprised that the focus is back on the crux of the controversy itself, which is the glorification of terrorists and the deification of terrorism? Yes, please. Saba.
Arnab, first of all, it's very interesting because it seems to me that the issues that you have said, as the television channel, you saying you raised the issue first. So now what we are seeing in Parliament, since the government is actually jumping on what you have been saying in your channel, and they're making an issue out of it. However, I also want to say I think it's very dangerous if politics and Parliament gets reduced to just spotting traitors and make so I have no doubt, Arnab, that you are very influential right now because the BJP is short of idea. They have failed on the economic front. There's rioting outside Delhi, on the outskirts of Delhi, and all we are doing is discussing about traitors and anti-nationals. It's fine for a television channel to do that. But right now, that's what's happening in Parliament. So let me say that to you right up front, Arnab. You have set the terms of the debate. You have set the terms of the debate, so you should sort of, take pride in that. And now you have all of this sort of very divisive stuff going on.
Okay, but the focus has come back, right, Saba?
So please allow me.
The focus has come back. We don't decide.
Yes.
We don't decide what Parliament debates. We broke stories. We broke Lalit Kate. The last Parliament session spoke about it. We spoke about the JNU debate. This Parliament session is speaking about it. You know, Saba, that when we do stories or do debates on the Newshour, it's not with an intention to influencing what happens in Parliament. If that happens, that's a corollary of it. Right? Now let's go back to the subject. Has this issue come back or not? To the main issue. Let's get Padma, Rashneek, Kher in before I get the politicians. The focus back on the Afzal issue.
Yes, it has.
The focus back on the Afzal issue. Saba agrees that it has. Padma, what do you think?
Yeah, I think in a very worrying sort of way, it is the former the Minister of Home at that time. This is Mr. Chidambaram. One asks oneself, the Parliament attack took place in 2001. The Congress UPA 1 came to power in 2004. Afzal Guru was hanged in 2013. Even if the Congress will not take any responsibility for their silence in the opposition between 2001 and 2004, what were they doing, Arnab, for the remaining 9 years when they were in power? And Mr. Chidambaram, who was Home Minister from 2008 to 2012, I mean, it is the government who prosecuted Afzal Guru. Where were they? Were they asleep? Like Arnab, most of UPA 2 was.
Yeah.
Were they asleep? So why didn't he say anything? So if Mr. Chidambaram raises this point now, I have a lot of respect for Mr. Chidambaram for a lot of other achievements that he has.
Yeah.
But the point is, under his belt. But the point is, if he raises this at this point in time, then I'm sorry, as a lawyer, as a very noted lawyer, I'm rather disappointed and surprised to find Mr. Chidambaram, voice publicly any doubts in the highest judicial instance of a democratic country, which is the Supreme Court of India.
Right. Opening the debate. We see the politicians want to come straight to the debate. I'm going to them. And let's go to 5 issues today, okay? Yes, Gaurav, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you, and then the BJP will respond. Question number 1. Arun Jaitley raises 5 questions. We're taking the debate forward because I said on the Newshour tonight, Gaurav, Manoj and Nalin, Kohli, I said on the Newshour tonight, let us get effective counters to the 5 charges of Arun Jaitley that he put on the floor of Parliament. The first charge he put, Gaurav Bhatia, is that there is an attempt to camouflage the events of the 9th of February. And I think he has a point there. Is there an attempt to camouflage? Because what happened in the 9th of February and in the events that followed in JNU were unacceptable. The slogans that were shouted, a cultural event which was being used as a guise to peddle the cause of threatening the unity of integrity of India. Pamphlets, Gaurav Bhatia, which were being distributed in which a terrorist was being projected as a martyr. Pamphlets titled A Country Without a Post Office plastered on the walls of a public university. That had slogans which spoke about the judicial killing of Afzal Guru. The chants of Azadi of an Indian state at gunpoint in the presence of a massive crowd. Arun Jaitley says that the opposition has been trying to camouflage the events of 9th February. Were you trying to do that, and would you concede defeat tonight? Gaurav Bhatia, would you concede defeat tonight? Please.
Yeah. Arnab, I would start by saying that let us understand first, Mr. Jaitley said hate speech cannot be part of freedom of speech and the right guaranteed under the Constitution. I am answering your question, just allow me to complete myself. Let me say this, Arnab, that Mr. Arun Jaitley would also agree, and my friend Mr. Nalin Kohli would also agree, that if any person deserves to be charged with sedition, it is definitely Mr. Masrat Alam and people like Andrabi. And if a person from the JNU campus who's a student might not be correct, might be delivering hate speech, but should he be charged with sedition, and should the government crack down in the manner in which they have done or not is the question today. So I would only say this, that when they take Arnab, 2 months time to even arrest a person like Masrat Alam, I think that they are not serious.
No, Nalin will respond.
Not as a journalist, but as a mother of a 26-year-old young man. May I say something as a citizen of this country? You know, this whole debate about whether this is sedition, whether this is this, whether this is that. The point is, if my son ever said something like "मैं भारत को टुकड़े-टुकड़े कर देंगे" या "भारत की बर्बादी," I would give him 2 tight slaps and I would send him as an urban person in my case to a year of rural hard labor on a farm. And otherwise, if as somebody has argued that one of the boys comes himself from a rural background and so it wouldn't be a punishment, then I would send him for hard labor to the army.
All right.
In fact, Arnab, I would like to make a proposition.
All right. This raises. This becomes controversial. This becomes controversial right at the start of Newshour. 1 second. Gaurav, Padma and Gaurav, let's not speak over each other.
That will take care of all these nonsense.
Okay, everyone should speak, but
for heaven's sake.
Okay, Padma and Gaurav.
They have to be taught a lesson.
Because the Supreme Court has given its final verdict. What we are questioning is,
okay, Gaurav,
deal with people like Masrat Alam with a soft hand.
Gaurav, you made your point, don't repeat it.
They are terrorists.
Gaurav, you made your point, don't repeat it. Let's get a counter from Nalin. Yes. And Manoj hasn't spoken, Rashneek has not spoken, Saira has not spoken, so I'm just going turn by turn so that we get the first round. Controversy right at the start of the Newshour debate. I raised point number 1, which Jaitley raised, but Gaurav Bhatia goes to point number 3. Fair enough. Point number 3, Nalin Kohli. The issue of free speech, right? The issue tonight, viewers, is this. Does the freedom of speech include the right, Nalin Kohli, to call for the destruction at gunpoint of a sovereign country called India? Why should vandalism be condemnable? And what is seditious amount to free speech? It's an interpretation of Article 19.2. I won't go into it. I'll let Nalin respond. Nalin responding to Gaurav. Gaurav, please hear Nalin, because you had the second say. Nalin.
Okay, I have a couple of points to make. First of all it's in what other section of the IPC are you going to use? 124A fits in squarely here. Now, I find this fascinating that a lot of people are trying to build the debate about a selective part of the Constitution. Now, you either accept the Constitution or you don't. So, therefore, let me finish. Gaurav bhai, you and I can argue it out. We do in the courts. We don't need to convert a studio into a court. So, let's go one by one. Now, the point here is Article 19.1a is absolutely crystal clear about the freedom of expression and speech. But 19.2, Gaurav bhai. Gaurav bhai, I'm sure you don't want to. Gaurav bhai, let me finish because I'll make my political points after that. 19.2 is about reasonable restrictions. Why do we forget that the First Amendment to the Indian Constitution is about 19.2? the expansion of the scope of reasonable restrictions. Now, where is it within our statutes anywhere that calling for the dismemberment of India is something that we can get away with free speech? You can't. I mean, I think if you were in a US university, Ivy League, and if you said that the killing of Osama bin Laden by an executive decision and special forces amounts to murder, therefore the president is guilty for being behind that, and now we should eulogize President Osama bin Laden and open a branch office of his. It doesn't go that far. What was said was outrageous. You can't run away from it, you can't hide from it, and nor can you as Gaurav Bhatia is trying to change the terms of reference so that you are able to create a new debate. But debate is a debate on a critical point. The second point is, whatever comes up, even if it is 124A, it has to pass the scrutiny of law by the due process of law. It has to be adjudicated by a court. So are you losing even faith in the court? If the charges hold, they will hold on the basis of evidence, not my feeling or Gaurav Bhatia's feeling or anybody else. So therefore, at the end of the day,
to be fair to all participants, I'll get Manoj Jain. One second. To be fair to all participants, and Gaurav, you will respect that. Gaurav,
reference of the debate, I'm coming to the performance of the BJP government.
Here's a question, and to be fair to all participants, I would like to get Manoj Jain, Rashneek in, Saira in, so everyone has their first say. Then it's an open debate anyway. The question at this point of time is, does freedom of speech include the right to call for the destruction of India? I would like to remind some of our panelists with a factual point here that in the Kedarnath Singh versus the state of Bihar on the 20th of January 1962, Manoj Jha, please remember, a case where a member of the left parties was accused of making a speech against the Congress party. The Supreme Court held the following. You know what they said in this judgment? And they said, and I quote, "The citizen has the right to say or write whatever he likes about the government, Manoj Jha, or its measures by way of criticism and comment, so long, Manoj Jha, as he does not incite people to violence against the government established by law or with the intention of creating public disorder."
That's the test of 124A.
I quote tonight, Kedarnath Singh versus State of Bihar, important judgment going back 54 years and 1 month to the 20th of January 1962. Manoj Jha, what's your counter to that? Manoj Jha, what's your counter to that? And then we take the debate forward.
Even just as a small interlude, ironically, even the First Amendment to the Indian Constitution,
Manoj Jha will counter. Manoj will counter.
Exactly.
Manoj will counter.
Left-leaning article.
Manoj will counter. Nalin Kohli, you may have more than 280 seats, but that does not mean you dominate the entire Newshour show. Yes, Manoj Jha.
Arnab, the first disclaimer is that I have been going to JNU after this incident, but I belong to thousands of students and teachers who do not subscribe to those slogans which have in fact converted the entire nation into two kind of camps. Number one, now I find it very interesting, Arnab, hate speeches cannot go under freedom of speech.
Yeah.
If that criteria is applied, Arnab, because India is not simply a map, BJP and RSS will have to go for a delete button. They simply cannot exist because they will have to go for a delete button.
Back to BJP,
because the kind of hate speeches we have heard in so many. No, Naren bhai, I didn't mean that. Because nation is not simply a map, it's an idea. How do we deal with that idea? I love my nation, but I have my grudges. Nation and nation state and state, these are three different things. In this entire debate, we are confusing between nation and the government as well as the state. Please understand that is doing a great damage, because I have seen people who fought for peasants, tribals. They are also facing sedition charges. What kind of nation are we wanting to make? Yeah. Is this what Ambedkar thought when he spoke in Book 1 of Constituent Assembly debate? Definitely not. Definitely not.
But I'm arguing from the point of legality. Sorry. No, Rashneek is countering, and we haven't heard from Saira yet.
On legality, I wish to speak.
Rashneek first. I'll give you all the counters. Let Rashneek come in. Let Saira come in. We'll have everybody come in. After that, we'll get the counters. Rashneek.
Put the fan on one number.
If I will be allowed 2 minutes, let me put this whole thing into context. The context is this. that these people who were shouting slogans were saying, "Hame kaun si azadi chahiye?" Let me say, Gilani wali azadi, Burhan Wani wali azadi. And I want to stress this point
Saira,
of Burhan Wani
on the other side.
for my dear friends who have been supporting these people who they call students. Let me finish, sir. They said Burhan Wani is the operational commander of Hizbul Mujahideen in Jammu and Kashmir.
That's right.
He is responsible for killing of many army men in Jammu and Kashmir, especially in Shopian, Pulwama, Pampur in South Kashmir. He is active. Now let us go to the other guy. They meant Maqbool Butt and Afzal Guru. It was proved beyond doubt in the Supreme Court of this country, which is the highest court, that Afzal Guru was responsible. Please allow me to finish, ma'am. I did not intervene when you spoke. That the Supreme Court said that beyond reasonable doubt, this man is responsible for the parliament attack, and he was convicted. His mercy petition went through. Then they said Gilani wali azadi. Now please understand, it is right to dissent is perfectly fine. I am all for right to dissent. For all you want to please criticize BJP, please criticize Mr. Modi, that's your right. But to say kitne Afzal maroge, घर से अफजल निकलेंगे, and to eulogize people like Maqbool Butt,
in fact,
who were responsible, who were responsible for raising the flag of Pakistan. Allow me to finish, ma'am. I will not speak when you speak. Who raised the flag of Pakistan in Kashmir? Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, who is known as a Pak sympathizer, rather a stooge in the hands of Pakistan. People who say जब तक हिंदुस्तान की बर्बादी नहीं होगी, if this amounts to dissent, I wonder then what freedom of speech are we talking about?
Exactly.
I mean, we have to please understand the context. In 1990, my dear friends, exactly the same slogans were raised outside our houses, and today I sit here before you as a refugee in my own country, because we did not pay heed to those slogans then. If we do not act now, maybe tomorrow it will be too late.
Okay, counter. Does Saira want to counter? 1 minute. Saba, before you, does Saira want to counter that? Saira, you counter that or let that pass? You want to counter because you haven't spoken yet. Saira, you want to counter that? Then you can. Otherwise, Saba will come in. Saira is coming in.
All I will say is that eulogizing a terrorist it has been proven beyond doubt that Afzal Guru was behind the parliament attack. It is wrong, whatever happened in the university. However, the point is, was it Kanhaiya Kumar, or was it indeed the students of university who were chanting anti-national slogans, or was it outsiders? It hasn't been proven, because there are various conspiracy theories.
Rashneek happened in the university campus, and I know that these are huge.
Because there are lots of videos doing the rounds that have been doctored.
How did you know? Why are you, Rashneek, gave the last word?
That have been doctored.
The video that Mr. Zucchi has released from the university is not doctored, ma'am. If you don't have a copy, I will send you that video, ma'am. And it very clearly says, हम हिंदुस्तान के आईन को नहीं मानते, which means we do not believe in the constitution of this country. We cannot allow this if they do not believe in the
constitution. Into the debate. 9:27.
Seek legal protection under the constitution. You cannot rubbish the same constitution and seek cover under the same constitution. The two cannot go hand in hand, ma'am. No, the two cannot go hand in hand. You either accept the constitution or you rubbish it. Don't seek protection under the constitution which you rubbish.
Allow me to speak here. Here I'm asking,
now, first of all,
eulogizing a terrorist is wrong. But the question is, were there JNU students who were chanting anti-national slogans, or was it outsiders?
Padma.
That is hair splitting. Who cares which university, which department, which faculty they belong to? Here was a group of several hundred young people.
What are you saying, ma'am?
Which faculty, which university?
Who were
one thing.
who
Arnab,
were distributing pamphlets. Forget about the doctored video. Set aside the doctored video for a minute. They were distributing pamphlets. And by the way, let me tell you, I grew up in New Delhi. I also made an attempt to study at JNU once.
Saba is counted. Saba. Before I go back to the politicians, Saba.
First of all, can I... Yeah, first of all, Arnab, the original sin is inappropriate slogans raised there, and everybody has a right to be offended. But let's be clear. I mean, do we really think that stupid students are some kind of mastermind terrorists? And I have a competing idea.
Yes,
I think the
we live in dangerous times. We need to take all
precautions. This is how it starts.
It's as simple as that.
How it starts.
We don't live
told in 1990 exactly the same thing. This is how you condone terror. This is how a terror apologist speaks. This is how terror apologists speak.
Okay, one second.
You are behaving like an apologist.
One second. By the way, can I have some? Can I intervene, please? Can I intervene, please? We are now on the second subject, which is the glorification of terrorists. Viewers, we believe here at times now that the focus has come back to the central issue, and the central issue was debated in Parliament today. On point number 2, and I need to get everyone in, was there an attempt to glorify terrorists? I would say yes, and I'd offer 2 or 3 points here.
Yes.
There was an attempt to glorify terrorists because the pamphlet circulated termed Afzal Guru's execution as a judicial killing and carried the slogan, Afzal, हम तुम्हारे अरमानों को मंजिल तक पहुंचाएंगे. The pamphlets use the issue of the execution of Afzal Guru and Maqbool Bhatt, and you say some stupid students with a hyper-indulgent attitude. No, 1 second. Saba has a... Saba, you say... You have a very indulgent attitude towards the students. And I am asking this question today. Please understand what they say. They say the slogans hail Afzal Guru by saying quote, कितने अफजल मारोगे, हर घर से अफजल निकलेगा. Right? This is today. They say, the pamphlets say today Afzal Guru is not merely a martyr for thousands. He symbolizes the historical injustice meted out to the people of the Kashmir Valley by the Indian state. I'm sorry to say this. This is the language that the ISI in Rawalpindi would be very happy with. So we can't be very indulgent about it.
Now, teaching the children of India to disrespect the highest judiciary of this country. Is this what we're teaching them?
Okay, Saba.
Nobody is defending the students.
Saba.
No one is defending the students. Padma, allow me to finish. Two of us can't talk at the same time. Either I'm speaking or you're speaking and I'll shut up. Padma,
I realize that. I realize that.
Now, so you want to speak, I'll stop. So Arnab did say Saba, so allow me to say a few things. Number one, there is no question of condoning those slogans, but why has this matter come alive in Parliament? Why has Mr. Chidambaram made this statement suddenly? Not because, why has he now? Let's get back to the Congress. The manner of Afzal Guru's hanging after conviction, it was done in secret without the due process. Without his family being involved.
Oh, please, Saba, now.
Now, all of these...
Saba, please. What do you mean due process? I think that's... Nalin, Kohli is countering. No, Nalin is countering. Nalin is countering. Nalin is countering. Nalin is countering Saba. Nalin and Saba. Nalin is countering Saba. Nalin.
No, I think this is a dangerous thing. We all can, in our wisdom, even in our passion, we can even in our passion want to say that we disagree with our judgment.
I think.
But you certainly can't run down the due process so lightly as Saba is by saying this is due process has been absolutely not followed. Are you saying that the Supreme Court didn't follow the process of conviction? He was convicted. You are arguing about the family being or not being there.
You need to follow due process.
That's it. Okay, 1 minute. I am coming to that squarely. Saba, I'll just quote you back your advice to Padma Rao. I'll quote back with due respect to you, ma'am. You said just now to Padma Rao that two people can't talk. So I'll keep quiet till Padma Rao finishes. So I'm just showing back the mirror to you. I'll keep quiet. Finish your point. I'm happy to respond after that.
Okay, we are not used to pehle aaps on the news. Can you continue, Nalin Kohli, please? Yeah.
So what happened?
No, we are not used to pehle aaps on the news. Continue, please. Continue.
Okay, thank you.
Allow me to.
So anyway, the point I'm trying to say is, end of the day, he was a terrorist who was behind the attack on the temple of democracy. Now make up your mind where you stand. Do you eulogize him? Or do you have a problem to say that, okay, I want to find something here and then make a point on that? You can't eulogize him, and I'm saying it as blunt as that. Where does it stop? Does it stop at Baghdadi, who's the new Caliph? Does it stop at Osama bin Laden? Again, there we go, Saba. Saba, where are we? Every time I start speaking, you start speaking. So I'm just simply saying, you are not behaving as a journalist. You are now guilty of the charge that's made on the politicians that we don't listen to anybody.
Okay, Gaurav is also countering here. Please, Saba and Nalin, can you cease fire for 1 minute? Gaurav wanted to come in. Gaurav, accept tonight the focus is on the main issue. Gaurav, focus on main issue. Main issue, Afzal. On the main issue, you on the back foot. You as an opposition. Not personally, you, Gaurav Bhatia. You on the back foot. I can quote again and again, there is no ambiguity about the fact there was a sinister attempt to glorify Afzal Guru as a martyr and use the issue of his execution as a pretext to raise slogans in favor of Kashmiri independence. Right? And despite the ruling of the Supreme... Okay, continue, please. Continue.
Yeah. Arnab, first responding to my brother Mr. Nalin Kohli when he said which other section would have been invoked. So I would request 153A, which is a lighter offence, and which would have been something right. Can you not interrupt?
Please, you had your say, Padma, let him come.
Please, allow me. Padma ji, I don't think this is justified. Let me make my points, please. Please, thank you. Second, I would say, Arnab, nobody supports glorifying a person like Mr. Afzal Guru because due process of law was followed. He had his chance in the Supreme Court, a review petition, then a clemency petition, and after that mercy petition was dismissed. And Mr. P. Chidambaram today saying that he would have been innocent and it should be looked into, I think is not justified, because I think the union government then ought to have advised the president then to grant him mercy. But I would again say, Arnab, that if these people are guilty of inciting any feelings against the nation, then so is Masrat Alam and Amdrabi.
No.
And that is why I am reiterating, for 3 months, the central government was silent.
There we go again.
Because Masrat Alam should be also dealt with and even with a firmer hand than the
Nalin will respond.
I say that this government has double standards. This government has double standards, and they are politicizing every issue.
Okay, respond, Nalin.
Let's not lose time, government to politicize every incident.
Nalin responding.
I'd like to
3 quick points. Just 3 quick points.
I'd like to point out,
Gaurav, I have understood that. Let me just finish it. Gaurav, I have understood that. Let's first go with the brief point. 153 is about promoting enmity between 2 groups. So who are the 2 groups? One who believe in the idea of India, the Constitution of India, and one who reject the Constitution of India. It's not 2 groups, Gaurav bhai. That section is for a different nature altogether.
You read the section.
The second is about age,
I
Saba and others are bringing up.
A legal debate.
Please somebody go down. I read the section. I know the section. Now come on, we are not going to start doing a court case here. Now you bring your case law, I'll bring my case law. Let's stop it here.
That's why I'm not
reading the section. Not a specific thing. So let's come to the second point that I'm saying, which is let's not come to the exact to the nature. Oh, they are kids.
In
26-year-old people, 27-year-old people.
Nalin, Gaurav is countering you with a point. Nalin, listen.
So anybody who's taking this refuge, what is wrong is wrong. It has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with this. This is squarely as seditious. Talking of the breakup of India, eulogizing a terrorist who has
what is wrong.
Convicted. So that's the bottom line.
Viewers,
agree with that or you disagree with that? There is no grey area.
Okay, viewers, I'm coming back to the debate, and I would like everyone to give me their ears for a minute. Can I have your ears for a minute?
That is the point.
Can I have your ears for a minute? Can I have a ears? It's not a earful, but can I have your attention for a minute? Saba. Yes, 1 second. Padma, calm down. Calm down. You need to listen to me now. Viewers, you need to listen to me now. 1 second. Gaurav, you need to listen to me now. 1 second, 1 minute. Just calm down and give me 30 seconds. Give me 30.
Former Home Secretary is revealing that the Ishrat case was actually in terms
That's debate number 2, Nalin. That's debate number 2, Nalin. Don't jump. Debate number 2, Nalin. That's debate number 2. Now we are on debate number 1. And I request everyone, including the honorable panelists, to give me 30 seconds of time on my own show. If you don't mind. If you're not going to be your problem nowadays is I am saying this openly to viewers. My panelists are getting increasingly collectively intolerant about my right to speak. I too have that fundamental right. And if my position is contrary to yours, you can't respond with a hate speech on me.
I'm sorry for laughing so much, but I find it funny.
Occasionally it will be appreciated.
But 19.2 applies to you also.
Yes, it does. In my case, you are the ones who put 19.2 on me. 1 second. Question is this. Thank you. I got my 30 seconds. I won't waste my time. I will ask a counter tonight, right? To Saba, to Padma, to Gaurav, but we will have Manoj answer that question first. Forget the legalities, ladies and gentlemen. You put 2 lawyers together on the Newshour, they'll pull out 153, 19B, page number 36, clause number 1. They will never remember. That's not the point. The point is more basic. The point is, Manoj, why on earth do politicians, including those from your party, give a shield of respectability to those calling for the destruction of India? And the point number 1 is while Rahul Gandhi, for example, slams the government for initiating action against JNU's pro-Afzal sympathizers, alleging BJP and RSS have no respect for the diversity of the nation's culture, sentiments of the people, why do you turn a deaf ear to those who raise slogans such as Hindustan ki barbati tak jang rahegi, Pakistan Zindabad, Hindustan Murdabad, celebrating the martyrdom of Afzal Guru? Why does Nitish Kumar give the protest legitimacy by saying those who stand and speak in favor of the BJP are nationalists, those who oppose the BJP are anti-nationals? When clearly the action initiated against those for what unfolded on 9th of February was not for speaking against the BJP, but for celebrating the martyrdom of a terrorist like Afzal Guru. So you're mixing things up. No, why do politicians give a shield of respectability to those who say our intention is to destroy India? Manoj respond please. Thank you.
Yeah, Arnab, I'll just take 50 seconds. And as a teacher, apart from being a spokesperson, right from day 1, we have never said this, no political party. Everybody's first major premise was that we will not tolerate any slogan talking about destruction of India. However, that was lost in the din of patriotism and all that. Number 2, right from Kanhaiya to Omar Khalid, Anirban, Ramanaga, Asutosh, they have all maintained on camera that they never support those kind of slogans. What we feel as a teacher and student here, Arnab, that is government very systematically tried to
one second, just 1 minute.
Not able to
just 1 minute. Sorry. Counter.
Questions raised by Rohit.
Counter.
Rohit, they cannot handle.
No, 1 second.
Rohit has shattered your question.
Counter. I put a counter. I put a counter here.
Not at all.
Counter here. Counter from me, please. Counter is if you can say, I have said on the program, Kanhaiya's greatest fault was that he stood there. And he's the JNU Students' Union president, and these things were happening right in front of him. He should have stopped them. He should have intervened. But what about Umar Khalid? What about the others?
Can Arnab?
No, what about the others? And why are you giving them?
Minister, stop. Niranjana Jyoti, Sakshi Maharaj.
Umar Khalid, who didn't have the decency or even seeing a discussion happen on Hanumantappa. Late Hanumantappa.
Arnab.
Well, why does that come in?
Can I say two lines? I want to say one.
No.
Arnab, which is
Gaurav is responding.
Arnab, I just want to quote one line. Yeah, Evelyn Beatrice Hall said a beautiful thing which is very relevant. I do not agree with what you have to say, but I will defend to death your right to say it. And that is the power of democracy.
I'm sorry.
We are not saying what these students did was right. We condemn it. We condemn it. But we still fight for the right to say it. As long as it does not incite violence, as long as it does not disrupt the security of the state, they have all the right.
And that is the point.
Can I complete my line, please?
Not polemics.
Can I complete?
Okay, one second.
Can I complete?
Then you can have the right to open an LET office in Connaught Place, or have a right to open the ISI's office in Connaught Place. That we can all disagree while they continue with their activities.
If you ask,
you draw a line where the activity is seditious. As simple as that.
But then the question is whether the offence that has been now invoked, does it commensurate with the words that they use, and second, their right of freedom to speech and expression. That is what we are
debating. So is it not commensurate, Gaurav bhai?
Taken away.
Bharat ki barbadi tak jang rahegi.
Was a judicial.
Afzal, hum sharminda hai, tere qatil zinda hai.
Supreme Court. Nalin ji, please allow, Nalin bhai, please allow me to complete myself. I request you, please. The point here, Arnab, is all the panelists today would agree and respect the Supreme Court judgment and condemn the words of these students. However, if somebody wants to disagree, can we take away that right if that person is not inciting violence?
Mr. Gaurav Bhatia. Mr. Gaurav Bhatia. Gaurav Bhatia.
That is there.
Gaurav Bhatia.
That is there.
Gaurav Bhatia.
You and I can disagree. That doesn't make us enemies. But you and I do not seek the breakup of India. You and I do not eulogize a terrorist. You and I will never be seen in a program saying, Osama, we are proud of you. What rubbish? That's the line. India, the line of an Indian is for each one of us. Even with Saba, when I'll fight with her on a point, Saba and I have a right to fight, to disagree. But certainly Saba and I will not be standing there and saying Bharat ki barbadi is going to be something that you and I will accept.
If somebody makes an anti-nation slogan, that does not mean
this is not criticizing the nation. We criticize governments, we criticize the opposition, we criticize channels, we criticize each other, we criticize art, but we certainly don't think the
Rashneek and Saba, come back to the debate right now. Rashneek and Saba, there is a great need. There is a tremendous need. 1 second, I will call names out. I now call out Rashneek and Saba. And by the way, I take my 30 seconds of liberty on the program. Occasionally, I want... No, 1 second, Saba. Occasionally, Saba, 1 second. Saba, let me steer this. Saba.
I agree.
No, Rashneek and Saba, please wait.
With Gaurav.
No.
I agree.
Rashneek and Saba, please.
100% with Gaurav.
No, can I have one line?
No,
Arnab, allow me to say one line, then I'll keep quiet.
Should be behind the
idea of India.
I 100% agree with him that cases of sedition should have been already taken up against her, and she should have been behind the bars as
please, Rashneek.
Ma'am, I will finish in 30 seconds and then you can speak for as long as you want. Ma'am, Saba, allow me to finish and then you speak. Saba, you allow me to speak for God's sake and then you speak. I agree with Gaurav that Asia Andrabi should be behind the bars. However, Gaurav, for your information, Masarat Alam is already behind the bars, so no further acts can be placed on him. As regards whether you can disagree with the judgment or not, yes, you can disagree. But disagreement, Gaurav Bhatia, does not mean that you invoke the judgment, the criticism of the judgment. Gaurav Bhatia, please allow me to speak. I did not speak when you were speaking.
Preventive detention.
That disagreement should not come in a way of saying Bharat ki barbadi tak, and you should not eulogize a terrorist. You can disagree with the Supreme Court's judgment, but you cannot invoke it to fuel unrest or make comments which are seditious and incite people's anger.
Can I narrow focus?
You cannot be eulogizing a terrorist. You can disagree with this statement. Yes, so please correct yourself. You are a lawyer, I am not one.
It was completely wrong.
Okay, viewers, since we are going back to the main issue, one second, Saba,
because Saba was allowed to count Andrabi and Masarat Alam, therefore I wanted to teach you something.
All of this, everybody shouting about.
You did not know about them, Gaurav. You have been saying ad nauseum since then, so I am just correcting you.
Rashneek, Rashneek,
yes,
Arnab,
please, yes, Saba, please.
Listen to me for 1 minute.
All ears, all ears.
The idea of India is too great.
Yes.
Please, the idea of India is too great, too vast, to be threatened by a few slogans which were completely inappropriate. So don't tell me that but what I worry about is the fact that certain political forces will take advantage of this rhetoric and just talk about slogans. And that ends in profiling of people, which ends, it's an ideological fight. And Rashneek, I've been hearing him talk about this slogan. Think of something larger, think of something generous all the time, instead of just damning people, saying charge this with sedition, charge that with sedition. For God's sake, have a more universal approach to things. We need a little bit of healing also.
Right, sure.
Nobody is supporting what
you see, Saba,
believe that a
can I
abuse the hospitality.
Saba, let me tell you, you know, people like you, I have met, this is exactly what happened 26 years before. It all started with slogans in 1989 in Kashmir. We were told exactly what you are telling me right now. And yet, these very slogans made 3,56,000 people flee their homes in one goddamn night.
Kashmir has a different...
Yes, Kashmir is a part of India. What are you saying? Kashmir is India, obviously. And things replicate. Things replicate themselves. People like you, even then at that point of time, said the idea of India is great and vast. But the idea of India is not just land. The idea of India is a multicultural, multi-ethnic society.
So what is your idea? What is your
19
idea?
exists with 1902.
The question is,
read what Baba Sahib Ambedkar had to say when 1902, the first amendment to the Indian Constitution was made.
Okay, all right.
My idea of India is a multicultural, multi-ethnic idea, unlike yours.
Okay.
And incidentally, whoever wrote...
Do you want a military state? What do you want?
I don't have to learn the idea of India from you, Saba.
I
don't have to learn the idea of India from you.
I must intervene at this point between Saba and Rashneek.
And how people get killed.
Saba and Rashneek. 1 minute. Now I will say something. Padma, please quiet.
And my idea of Ishrat Jahan is also not the same as yours.
The idea.
Please listen to me. No, Rashneek. No, Gaurav, 1 minute. Gaurav, 1 minute. Don't take off 1 minute. Don't take off for a minute. I want 20 seconds. 1 second. Here's the question tonight. Viewers, I'm asking a one simple question tonight, and I want a little bit of indulgence. I think there is a fundamental flaw.
Logic is failing.
There is
about what Wapsi has started, it seems.
There is a fundamental failing in the argument that you are presenting tonight, Saba. And with respect to you, I would like to point this out to you. Not just you, but a lot of people who represent the perspective that you have, which is your right to have that perspective, are making a fundamental flaw. You are saying, do you want an emergency? Now you just made, that's a hyperbolic comment. Do you want a military state? That's a hyperbolic comment. I mean, here is a very reasonable discussion happening on an issue such as if hate speech can be allowed, why not seditious speech? If speech inciting hatred against a particular religion can be disallowed in the name of protecting public order, why not speech calling for the destruction of India? It's a reasonable discussion. Yeah. On the other side, when these reasonable points are made, I find that some people who represent your point of view say, do you want an emergency? Do you want military rule? Do you want the army on the streets? Do you want somebody to beat you with batons? Do you want all of us in lockup? No. Let us not, however, forget that the Supreme Court in the Ramji Lal Modi versus State of Uttar Pradesh case of 1957 upheld the constitutionality of Section 295A, which relates to statements made vis-a-vis religion. It's an appropriate point, therefore, to discuss in the context of what happened. But the moment you make that point to one side, they say, you know what, do you want all of us behind bars? We're all going to be pulled down, dragged down the streets. We'll all be pulled in chains. There will be no independent press. I mean, let's not respond to a reasonable discussion with a hyperbolic point.
No, we can't. In between.
No, I feel there's a lot of. I feel, and I'm saying this.
Arnab, can I respond?
No. Once. Therefore, my question to Gaurav is this. Gaurav and Saira has not spoken, so I want Saira also to come in. Simple point. I want Saira. Saira, tell me one thing. I'm not making a point. I'm asking a question, so don't overreact. Is Bharat ke Tukre not sedition?
See, according
Bharat ke Tukre.
One second.
Bharat ke Tukre.
Allow me to speak.
Banduk ke dam par azadi.
Am I allowed to speak?
Yeah, go on. Go on.
Okay, now who's speaking? Arnab, you decide who's speaking.
You are speaking.
Okay, great. Now the thing is, according to the UGC guidelines, people are allowed to have a healthy discourse in a university, to openly debate and discuss.
Yes.
Okay? Right now,
the UGC.
I'm afraid I'm going to take a break and come back to the debate.
The Indian Penal Code.
Or what?
I take a break and come back to the debate.
Not and cannot override the Indian Penal Code, nor the Indian judiciary.
Who shouted the sedate, those slogans, or were the outsiders? Why isn't the government charging the outsiders?
How does she know?
Fringe and came into the university and chanted the slogans. Please prove it, because the videos are.
How do you know more than anybody else? Even more than
how do you know the government is not taking action? The police is not going to give you every detail of whom they are interrogating. How do you know they're not?
The students are behind bars. Is it right that the students are behind bars?
Sarah, if you already know that these people were not from JNU, can you please tell us where these people came from?
Viewers, ending the debate, I'd only say this.
Please, if you
ending the debate with one question, Gaurav Bhatia.
You seem to know everything where these guys came from.
Last point tonight. I have 1 minute left. I want a brief answer. Gaurav, I believe JNU is not another country. It's not the Vatican. It's not sovereign territory. It belongs to the territory of India. And hence, we need to also understand the law and order machinery being stopped from entering a university campus. I mean, the Indian Penal Code does not apply there. The Criminal Code does not apply there. What is the rule which applies there?
It does. But just allow me 30 seconds and I'll answer.
30 seconds to be exact.
RSS called JNU. Yes. RSS called JNU an anti-national bloc. Now, when this government came to power, the HRD...
Closing.
The left party students wing occupies the two most important positions.
Closing.
Why do you always interrupt when I'm making a point?
Padma, let him complete. I have limited time.
Make my point.
I have limited time,
Padma. You are not aware. I'm pointing out a relevant fact, Padma ji.
I want to respond to that, please.
HRD directed the UGC.
Only two on the screen, Nalin,
to issue a circular recommending increased police patrolling on college campuses immediately after BJP government came to power. The students don't need increased police patrolling.
Counter.
They need
counter and closing.
Opinion. There has to be internal checks.
Counter and closing.
You cannot have a police machinery in the college campus which curbs their right.
Counter and closing. Counter and closing. Nalin, counter and closing. Counter.
It's a political point.
Nalin.
It's a political point to score a political point. But what Gaurav Bhai is saying, Gaurav Bhai,
not at all,
I think if you want to talk about policing, then you can say, where are we heading?
Okay.
In terms of JNU, the RSS is the favorite whipping boy. The
thank you all.
Has a free run. The DSY,
I thank you all.
Whatever DSU has a
debate
free
number 2 tonight on the Newshour.
But the RSS should
debate number 2 tonight on the Newshour is on fresh revelations in the Ishrat Jahan case. We have debate number 2 on the Newshour tonight. Will be some explosive revelations. Explosive revelations never heard before about political interference in the Ishrat Jahan case, and exclusive from Prema Sridevi coming up on the other side. I thank everyone for joining me on debate number 1, the return to the main focus on JNU on the Newshour tonight. See you on the other side.